25-26 school year. So we have some new students this year. We have our 5th graders joining us for the first time, so this will be your first experience with one of these. And we also have about maybe 15 new students who are joining our school from various different schools in different states. You know, if you see an unfamiliar face in your grade, you know, introduce yourself, let them feel welcome in our Attales family. So what we do at these family meetings is we take time, you know, I talked about that feed the good wolf stuff, right? So we find opportunities to do good things, to recognize the good in each other, to, you know, get you guys involved in positive things, rewards and things like that. So these family meetings allow us to come together. They're not pep rallies, right? I don't do pep rallies, but it's an opportunity for us to get together, to speak from the heart, to speak to the hearts of the people in the audience. Many times, people in the audience will be standing here speaking to you. So the deal is, when somebody is here speaking, we are locked into what they're saying, because one day that might be you standing here talking, and the other thing is that person that's talking might be recognizing you for something you do on a daily basis to inspire them in some way. So that's kind of the concept of these family meetings. So we do a few of these a year, probably another one Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then toward spring break at the end of the year. So it's a nice chunk where we can, you know, when we do this next one, we'll have lots of things for you guys to do, shout outs around the staff and things like that. We try to spice it up in terms of how we do that stuff. So as I also invite the staff each time, if anybody wants to get up and you know, talk to the grade, they're welcome to do so. Students, if you have ideas on things that we could do to make these family meetings even more special, we're always open to those ideas as well. One of the things that we do at these family meetings also is our sledgehammer. So for you 5th graders, and for our transfers, I don't want to touch the metal because it's like too cold, I might freeze to it. Is we use this sledgehammer to recognize people in our lives that are either inspiring us through their hard work, who have overcome adversity, who, when they come into the classroom or when we interact with them, they make us feel better. So for a variety of reasons, we use this sledgehammer. And the reason we use a sledgehammer is because nothing says hard work, grit, you know, hustle than a sledgehammer, right? Because the sledgehammer's only got one use, right? For work, to do work, right? And so on this sledgehammer, there's a variety of words that are on here: hard, focus, never quit, hard work equals results, I can, I will, I must, 120%, all in, vision, compete, right? So a whole bunch of things that mean something to me, and I want them to mean something to everybody here. So when we present this, the person who gets it somehow reflects some of the qualities that are on it. And when you get the hammer, you get to sign the hammer. All right, so your name becomes a part of this history forever, even after you graduate. All right, and the way that it works is, when I first got here 8 years ago now, I set this sledgehammer in motion by doing the first presentation to a former teacher here, one of my former football coaches, Mr. Bell. All right, and then the way it works is it goes from a teacher to a student. So if a student is awarded it at the next family meeting, they get up and they're going to present it to some staff member who somehow inspired them in some way. So today we have a few students. We also have a special one, Ms. Clark, will be presenting a sledgehammer. And interestingly, this year we have 2 students that are presenting it who are now in high school, but they wrote us what they would like us to say. So we will present that, the hammer, on behalf of those guys. And then we have 2 students with us today who are exceptionally excited to stand up here in front of 400 people in freezing cold weather, and everybody's staring at them with the pressure of the world on their shoulders, and they're going to inspire somebody and make them cry because of the nice things they're about to say. All right, so that's what these things are about. And like I said, we're always looking for ideas, so if you guys have an idea that you think would be pretty cool for us to feed that good wolf, so to say, at these family meetings, we're all about it. Let me or Ms. Carver know, or teacher, or Mr. Gill, whoever. All right? And then we always try to end these family meetings with something, I don't necessarily want to say inspirational, but something that just makes us think, right? Something that'll just be able to hang in the back of the mind between today and whenever we have our next family meeting. And so we'll do that each time, and I'm always open for somebody else to do that, right? It's not easy, I will tell you, and as my two friends who will present the hammer today, it's not easy to stand up here and have all these people staring at you and be able to speak, but you know, we have, raise your hand for our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders if you have gotten up here and at some point and spoke at a family meeting in some way, whether it's a shout out, whatever it is. Raise your hand if you got up here to speak. Get them up high, get them up high. All right. So we had, a fair number of our kids get up here, right? So if somebody has, we had a few years ago, we had an unbelievably inspiring story of one of our students who had overcome cancer, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the room when she got done talking, right? So this is just as much your family meeting as it is ours and mine, but these are some of the best days of the year for me because I enjoy when we can do something unique. No other middle school is doing this, right? Middle schools are focused on reading, writing, arithmetic, and things like that, and they don't take the time to do this emotional connection type stuff, this culture and climate type stuff, like this, right? So I think these are pretty special, and like I said, they're some of my favorite days of the year. One of the other things, in addition to giving me ideas, if you have, but the other thing is, what I want you guys to do is to also find ways to get involved in things that do exist here, whether that's our sports teams, whether it's the play, even if it's the stage crew or the band or whatever. We have various clubs and activities and things like that that you'll start hearing about soon, newspaper, yearbook, things like that. So get involved, right? Make yourself a well-rounded student. And that way when you finish the year, you can feel like you've accomplished something. So this one particular family meeting will not be that long. First, it's freezing in here, so I don't want anybody to get frostbite. The second thing is that we just started, right? So there's not going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to say about some of these other stuff, but when we have that November one, we're definitely going to incorporate students into that. So what I want to do now is present our Sledgehammer Awards. But that's kind of the idea of some of the things we like to do. Take time to recognize the good in each other and the good that goes on in this school. That's what makes these meetings pretty special. And you know, in wrapping this up, change is hard, right? Change is difficult, change is scary, right? So, you know, people don't like change, right? So we just started a new school year. So we probably had students that were coming to us, our 5th graders, maybe the new kids that are coming, probably a lot of staff. That when the school year's starting, because of that change, there's some stress and anxiety, right, that goes into that because there's a little bit of an unknown factor, like what's it going to be like, that type of stuff, right? Well, you know, as a principal, I'm not immune to that either. And my staff will tell you, I'll sometimes send emails at 2:30 in the morning because I can't sleep or whatever. But yesterday was one of those days, and so couldn't sleep. Also in turn, thinking about the first day of school and making sure that I did everything I could to support everybody and get everything all set up and everything like that. And so about 3:30 in the morning, I just said, forget it. Sleep is done for the day. So I got up. So a few things that I like to do to manage my stress and anxiety, because I get that up just as much as anybody else. One is through my faith and praying, and the second is through exercise. I find that helps clear my mind. So getting up at 3:30, I decided, it's a good time for a run. So I'm out there running. There's literally, it looked like there was like the end of like World War III, or the end of the world. There's literally nobody around. Not any squirrels, no dogs barking, no cars, nothing. And it's just me, and I'm looking up, and it's a nice, beautiful, crisp morning, probably 60 degrees, 55 degrees. And I look up at the sky, and it's blazing with a million, probably trillions of stars. You got Orion up there, and all these other constellations, and I'm looking, I'm thinking, what a great day. And when I have these meetings, I'm always looking for something to leave you guys with, right? And And so a lot of times I pray on it, I'll think on it, and something will happen that will tell me what it is that I'm supposed to say. So as I'm running in the pitch black, I can't see the road because it's obviously pitch black. And I'm noticing that as I'm running, every once in a while there'll be a street light. And as I'm coming closer to the street light, I feel a little bit more comfortable, right? I feel a little safer, right? Because I can see the road. You know, I'm not the scary clown from the, what was that movie? Yeah, whatever. He's not waiting in the bushes for me, right? So as I notice as I'm running closer to into the street light, that my shadow is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And as I'm passing through that, and I'm running away from the street light, and the light is behind me, my shadow is getting taller and taller and taller. So this is happening, you know, for a while. And I'm looking at, I'm thinking about school, I'm thinking about you guys, because, you know, our staff, students are always thinking about you and things that, you know, I should be doing better or whatever else. And all of a sudden, I just had this kind of epiphany that that's it. That's the message, right? What did the street light represent for me was comfort, the comfort zone, right? Safety, right? And as I was running into that street light, my shadow was getting smaller and smaller, right? Because I was safe in that environment, right? I could see everything, right? I felt comfortable there. There's no anxiety, no stress, didn't feel any pressure. And as I was running past the street light into darkness, it's then that my shadow was getting taller and taller and taller. I almost felt like I was like some, you know, avenger, that I could have taken on the world with that tall shadow, right? And so that was the message for me, is that if you're staying in that comfort space, you're not getting any bigger, you're not growing, you're not pushing your limits, right? So it's getting through that light and pushing into that scary darkness, the unknown, where the stress and the anxiety live, and the what if that, and what if I do this, and what if this doesn't happen, right? That's where the shadow is the tallest, right? And that's where your growth is the biggest, right? So when you're looking at this year, okay, and you know, every year I also try to work on my many flaws, but as you're coming into this school year, what I want you to focus on is pointing yourself in a direction where you can also make your shadow taller. And you're getting away from that comfort zone behind you. And maybe that's, you know, actually dedicating yourself into the academics, if that's not what you're used to doing. Maybe that's changing your peer group. If, you know, they're holding you back, or you're just in that group because it's comfortable and it's not really doing anything for you. Maybe it's trying something new, whether it's a new club or a new sport or whatever, right? But pointing yourself in a direction and putting one foot in front of the other, and that's all you have to focus on, so that as you move on, your shadow's getting taller and taller, the comfort zone is behind you, and then eventually you'll come into another street light, and you'll be able to do it again and make growth in another area. So in order to do that, you know, one of the things that I have it all over my office. If you've been there, I take to my desk, you know, they're all over the place, is, you know, quotes or poems that mean something to me, all right? You know, on my desk, there's a few of them, a couple on leadership and things like that. There's General Douglas MacArthur's Build Me a Son letter that he wrote to his son, which I think is one of the greatest father-son letters ever written. And I will sometimes look down at that and read it and just say, am I meeting that expectation? Am I meeting that bar, right? Or could I do things better, right? So what we're going to do moving forward is, over the next week or two, I want you guys to think of a quote, to find a quote. Maybe you have to research it. To find a quote or to find a poem that is going to be your guiding principle, that's going to point you in a direction where you can stretch your shadows out, right? And then when we have our next Family Time Friday, we're going to give you a Google form to put, copy, paste in your motivational quote or poem. And then I will print those out, and we will post those around the school. So that every once in a while, maybe when you're having a bad day, maybe when you're thinking of staying in that comfort zone, you might coincidentally walk past that. And you might see it, and it might be whispering out to you, are you doing all you can to get better? All right, so at the end of this year, the hope is that you've stretched that shadow in some way, in some area of your life. All right, so that's going to be the goal. All right, so think about it. Find something that means something to you. Right? Find something that's going to be your guiding principle to point you in that right direction to stretch out that shadow this year. And we're going to get that down. We're going to write it on in that form. We're going to post it around the wall so it's going to be always visible. If you ever need to reflect back on it, you'll be able to. All right, so that concludes our first round meeting of the year. Welcome back, everybody. It's great to have you. I'm looking forward to a fantastic year. And we have so 6th grade.